Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So what a day. What a day. All this talk about bank failures. Well, it pumped Bitcoin. It pumped Bitcoin hard. Bitcoin went up about 18% today, and the day's not over. So let's talk about Bitcoin's pretty good recovery. And also, are there more bank runs coming? And what are the Fed and FDIC and Biden administration going to do? So let's talk about all these things and more. Welcome, 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 guys. Just look at that. Look at that pump. This morning when I was streaming, it started coming up a little bit. I think we were like at 21 or something this morning. And then we quickly went to 22, 23. Now we're back to 24. I mean, we're not far off from our previous high of 25, right? We hit 25 a couple times. The last time was right around here. End of February, we hit about 25.3. I mean, we're really, really close, right? So all the fear... right? All the fear and FUD about macro conditions, about Silvergate and everything else just kind of went away. But why did it go away? Well, it's because it's pretty obvious. Because people are starting to lose faith in banks. It happened in 2008. It's happening again. And it happened before 2008 too. I don't want to say it's just like the only bank closures happened in 2008. No, it happened before, but 2008 was the prime example of basically everything going under, and everything had to be bailed out, right? And that's what seems like is going to happen. The U.S. government moves to stop potential banking crisis. So they started with SV Bank first. Obviously, I covered this morning, right? A lot of banks in trouble right now, okay? And I will get to the whole list. But SV Bank was the biggest that they needed to resolve right away. So the Fed, FDIC, and the Treasury all came together and said, okay, we will bail them out. I don't care what anyone says. There's some people that's arguing, oh, no, it's not a bailout. No, it's for sure a bailout, okay? So even people that are not insured, you know, the FDIC insurance goes up to $250,000, even people that have more or companies that have more, they are all able to withdraw, okay? Now, why is this a bailout? Because basically, whatever that isn't there, whatever that SV Bank lost, they will basically get bailed out. The Treasury Department there was something in here about the Treasury Department is issuing up to $25 billion, okay, towards this new Fed lending program, which they call the Fed facility, right? And basically, you could borrow by actually putting down your bonds as collateral, right? And that in itself is really screwed up. The U.S. government doesn't have any money, right? How could they lend out money that they borrowed in the first place from companies, and now they're lending it back to them? It doesn't actually make a whole lot of sense. But basically, everyone decided, you know what? You can't let SV Bank fail. They're just too big. And I said that, right? I'm like, there's just no way. They're going to bail them out. President Biden also did a very quick 5-minute press conference and said, hey, we will do whatever needed to save our banks. We need to reassure to the American people that banks are safe and you could keep your money there. And then he storms off without taking any questions. So bottom line is this. We went through a 2008 moment. We don't want to go through another 2008 moment. So basically the Fed, the Treasury, FDIC, Biden, everyone is going to do what it takes to save the banks. And today was absolutely horrible. Here's just a real comparison, like a real quick comparison of Bitcoin on top, what it did, and the banks that went down. You can see it's clearly an inverse relationship, right? And that's what we want to see, decoupling. That's exactly what happened today. Bitcoin and ETH and all of crypto went up, and look at the list of banks that went down hugely, right? First Republic, another one, right? Another gigantic one, but you got Charles Schwab, also very big, and several others. They're all down. But not only that, take a look at this. Look at this. You know how there's circuit breaker rule, right, with equities. If something goes down too fast, you know, it's halted. Look at all the banking stocks that were halted today during trading. Every single bank basically got hammered today. Okay, this is what happens when you lose trust of the people. Bank runs happen. Not only bank runs, physical bank runs of withdrawing, but also you have people mass dumping their stock, right? So that is exactly what happened. Now, if you thought the bailout was just limited to that $25 billion that the Treasury Department stated that they have reserved, think again. So far, banks have accrued $620 billion in unrealized losses. This is according to FDIC. Okay, and this was actually from yesterday. So I don't even know what the total tally is. By the end, if this carries on throughout this week and more, we're talking about $1 trillion plus, maybe in the trillions, right? So where's the U.S. government go get the money from? Well, not from the taxpayers, or maybe a lot from the taxpayer. Maybe this is a precursor to more tax hikes. But you know, is it gonna come from borrowing money by issuing more bonds? Maybe, but companies and banks right now are putting down their bonds to borrow against. So that doesn't seem like a good solution. Where's the money going to come from? Well, from the money printers that have probably started printing, okay? This is going to lead to more money printing and lead to more inflation, okay? People don't want to talk about it. The inflation that we've been seeing come down a little bit from our peak of like 10%, it's mostly caused due to overprinting, not due to external factors, although some, yes, have relevancy, but mostly it's due to overprinting. And we're going to print, by the end of this, maybe another trillion or 2 trillion or maybe 4 trillion, right, on top of the printing that we have already done. That is what this is going to lead to, okay? Yeah. This is the reason why Bitcoin is going up, right? Bitcoin went up because people are like, okay, what do I do when I want to opt out of the banks? If I want to pull my money out, where do I put it? Because normally you put it in another bank. But if all these banks are losing trust and you don't want to put into banks, you don't want to put your money in a bank, what do? Right? Do you want to buy bonds or do you want to buy Bitcoin? I think today proved that a lot of people are turning to Bitcoin. They're like, F this. I'm going to get my money out and let's buy some Bitcoin, right? There's just a whole lot of fear and distrust in banks right now. And that's leading to this rally. That's exactly what's happening. And by the way, I saw someone posted this. The chief administrative officer, okay, of SV Bank, guess what? He was the CFO of Lehman Brothers back in 2007. So, you know, doesn't it make you wonder how this guy found another job, of all places, a bank? Shouldn't have, I don't know how he's not even in jail after what happened with Lehman's and others in 2007, right? Like, these guys just get free passes and it's like nothing happened, right? And I know SV Bank is different than Lehman's. Lehman's was way, way, way over leveraged, but I'm sure SV Bank was also over leveraged. But, you know, how is this still legal, and how's no one paying attention to this until after the fact, you know? Quite funny. But, you know, I did talk about one of the good things besides Bitcoin pumping is the next FOMC meeting and the next rate hike. So right now it's predicted that 27% chance that Chair Powell is not going to raise rates for the next meeting. 73% chance he will, but only 25 basis points. 50 basis points is off the table. Okay, it should have never been on the table, but it got put on the table because of, again, the hawkish jobs report, which is actually really good. But now it seems like it's off the table. Now we either have 0 or 25 basis points, right? And tomorrow we get a CPI reading. So if tomorrow's CPI reading shows that inflation is still going down, then that's fantastic. This 27% is going to probably jump to 100%, right? But tomorrow's CPI inflation shows that we're going back up again. Well, things may change. But one thing's for certain, if we're going to start banging on the banks just like we did in 2008, that's going to cause more inflation. Because when you have trillions being printed out of thin air, there's a problem. There's a problem to that. All right, so that's why more and more people are opting out and going to Bitcoin, right? But you know who's not going to Bitcoin? Our favorite analyst, Mad Money host, Jim Cramer, which I came out with another video today about how he felt about First Republic. I hope you guys watched that because that was a pretty good one. But in case you guys didn't watch this, let's take a listen. This is part of his show today.
Still being manipulated, and I would sell my Bitcoin right into this rally. And believe me, I had been a believer one time in Bitcoin. Not here, not now. Please don't assume, therefore, that it's not still being manipulated. And I would sell my Bitcoin right into this rally. And believe me, I had been a believer one time in Bitcoin. Not here, not now.
That's the biggest bull signal we can get. Honestly, based on the clips I've been watching and collecting and editing, like, you're 100% accurate if you just bet against Jim Cramer. Like, literally, that inverse Cramer ETF probably is up like 1,000%. So if Jim Cramer all of a sudden is telling people to sell Bitcoin, look at the headline right there. Will failing trust in banks and the Fed lead to more people using Bitcoin? The answer is yes. Today proved it, right? And Jim said, no, I would sell Bitcoin, right? Like, doesn't even really give a good reason for it. like he's trying to protect the banks, right? Like, I don't know. But I would say that's a pretty bullish indicator. So let's take it. But, you know, as for the fundamentals, I've been telling you guys, even when we were going down, even when we, you know, breached 20,000, fundamentals did not change. Did not change with Bitcoin. Just because we had a few weeks of down, nothing changed. Long-term holder supply is still at all-time high, 73%. 73% of Bitcoin is being held by long-term holders. You know, Bitcoiners' conviction and faith in Bitcoin has gone undeterred, no matter what the circumstances are, right? Bitcoin holders know this is the true asset, the one asset you want to hold despite all the stuff that's going on. And right now kind of proves that point exactly. You shouldn't trust the banks. You shouldn't trust the Fed. You shouldn't trust the U.S. government. They're not looking out for you. They're looking out for them, their own pockets. And every single elected official or appointed official somehow has $100 million of net worth already. Do you really think they give a F? Anyways, moving past that. Ranted a little bit too much. Grayscale, it's been reported, 70% chance to get their case won against the SEC. So that means a Bitcoin spot ETF could be around the corner. And if so, think about how much money would actually flow in. Right now, you know, to pump Bitcoin this much today took billions. Don't think it took like $2 million on the spot exchange and it pumped this much. No. We're talking about billions that came in to cause this, okay? So imagine if we actually have a spot ETF, how much more money would come in, right? It would be much, much easier for corporations and high wealthy net individuals and family offices and hedge funds, right, to just say, hey, I'm selling my bank shares and I'm buying Bitcoin ETF, right? So it could be absolutely tremendous once this gets approved. What else is there? A couple of bad news, I guess. If you're in UK, Binance funding for on-ramp, off-ramp for British pound is ending in May because the bank is shutting it off, right? So one of the downsides to all these crypto-friendly banks being shut down is fiat on-ramp and off-ramp is going to become more difficult in the future, right? So we have to watch out and see what happens. But this will be ending in May, so just be careful, May 22nd. But Binance says this accounts for less than 1% of their traffic, and they will find another solution. So hopefully they do. And Coinbase today officially disables trading for BUSD, although they say, hey, withdrawals are still open. You could draw anytime, but they have disabled BUSD due to the SEC suing Paxos. Again, you could kind of blame Gary for this, right? And then lastly, Justice Department investigating Terra USD collapse. Okay, like a year afterwards. Do Kwon's already on the run from the South Korean authorities. What is the Justice Department doing? Like, what could they accomplish with this, right? They should save their resources for something else, maybe to go after FTX or someone rather than Terra USD. Like, this is completely pointless. So, yeah, just that. All right, and Bitcoin is still heading higher. 24.5. Can we break through to 25 by the end of this stream? Let's hope. Let's hope. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right, let's see here. James Winter says, just print us all rich already. Like, seriously, if the US government thinks that, hey, you know, you could just print irresponsibly and just print however much you want without any consequences, why not just print $1 million for all Americans, just hand it out? Right? That's really not that much compared to the trillions they have printed. You know, just print $1 million for everyone. I mean, it is a lot of money, but, you know, if there's no consequences, why not, right? But no, in reality, there are consequences. So no, we don't want them to do that. But still, it makes you wonder, right, what their limits are. CPI numbers will push Bitcoin to 26K tomorrow. We have a big CPI reading. Last month, CPI showed we went down, but barely. This time around, if we go down more than expected, that's going to be a fantastic thing. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Suspect K, appreciate it. All right, still. I'm glad people liking the inverse Cramer indicator. All right, I'm still scrolling here. I finally understand DZO. I finally understand why you say you wouldn't convert to USD. What the hell are we going to do if there's a national bank run? You know, it makes you wonder. Makes you wonder, if you can't trust USD, what can you trust, right? And we're lucky in the US. We don't really have to think about that, although maybe in the future. But many other countries around the world, many citizens, they're faced with this every single day. Like, what are you going to do when you can't trust the banks? You're seeing your money get, crippled and devalued and hyperinflation to nothing, right? What are you going to do? Well, the answer for many around the world is to buy Bitcoin, right? Any thoughts on ETH-Roll? I bought 2 nodes today. Sorry, 0 thoughts on them. How much would a Big Mac cost in 2030? Here's the thing, Rick. Hey, we're seeing a little bit more pumping. George effect in place. Here's the thing with these fast food sandwiches. They've been trying to keep the price lower, but have you noticed how small the burger patties are now? If you look at a Big Mac patty, the 2 patties that come with it, they're so tiny. So tiny, right? That's how they're trying to keep the cost down, by trying to shrink everything. The buns are the same size, but the patties are like half the size of the buns, right? So who knows what a Big Mac will cost in 2030, or how small it will become by 2030. Creed 3 was actually really good, yes. I'm looking forward to John Wick, which should be coming out in a couple weeks, and there was another movie that's coming out. Norma, appreciate it. Do you think Robinhood will be affected by any of this banking collapse? I think they will. I mean, anyone that deals with trading crypto will be affected, so they will. Eli, thank you. And again, congrats for becoming a multi-coiner, someone who owns multiple Bitcoins. Congratulations. Am I into Mandalorian? Yes, although I didn't start a new season yet. Season 3, I didn't watch it yet. Been kind of trying to finish the Blacklist, so then I could get to my other shows. I know Mandalorian came out. Picard Season 3 came out. I haven't watched any of those. Blacklist is dragging on, and now I'm in Season 8. I gotta say, I wasn't that big of a fan of Season 7. Season 8, I'm not sure how I'm gonna take it. Liz is she's just becoming really annoying. Culver's does have really good burgers. What's a realistic top for ETH in the next cycle? 10,000. I'd say very, very achievable, but maybe as high as 15,000. Just look at this today. Ouch. If you could only DCA for 6 months, would you start now or wait until the halving event? I would actually start now. By the time we get to the halving event, we will be much higher. I know that for sure. Much higher than where we are now. So I would much rather do it now than after halving. Any good Lego drops upcoming? I haven't seen any that I'm interested in. There was a huge set drop for Lord of the Rings, but I don't think at this point anyone cares about it. At least I'm not a big Lord of the Rings fan, so I'm not excited about it. Nothing else big. What will 5,000 invest in crypto market be by the end of 2030? It depends. Depends on what you invest in. If you invest in some meme coin that goes belly up, well, then that means zero. Townsley. It really depends on what you're buying. Are you still feeling bullish on VET? Yes. Shout out to Bob R. Hey, Bob and Dan. Yes, I am. Still waiting for them to make moves. They've started, but still early for them. Should I go all in on Phantom or GRT or Graph? I mean, you shouldn't go all in on either. Just don't go all in on anything. If you like both projects, then just split it 50-50. Why do you need to go all in? I'm probably going to watch a Mario movie with my kids, but I'm not sure about Chris Pratt's voice as Mario. It just sounds like Chris Pratt. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's see where. Let me bring my lines up. Yeah, 24.2 is actually a pretty good support / resistance, right? But what we're looking for is if we could break above, you know, I mean, our previous high was about 25.2. If we could break above, man, we're going to be right at 28. 29. You know, we might get a big, you know, spike to 29, like right around the corner. It could happen. On a daily chart, we're not overbought yet. Stochastic, RSI are both going up. You can see MACD just turned green down here, right? So we still got a lot of momentum, a lot of strength left. Just need a little push tomorrow. If it turns out another bank is failing or something else is crashing, right? And as more people tune or turn to Bitcoin, we could see another tremendous pump. I didn't even check liquidations today, but I'm sure it's pretty nasty for the. Yeah, you could tell that's nasty already. Oof. That's a lot of nastiness right there. Let's do 4 hours. So you got 67 million, 79 million, 31 million. Here's 115 million. I mean, you're talking about like 300 million, give or take, of shorts liquidated today. Have I DCA into ADA recently? No, I have not. Skeller, appreciate it. TA, appreciate it. Noah, come to next halving. George, come to next halving. That will mark about 4 years since finding your channel, Holding. We've been through some battles in the market. How crazy time flies. It is crazy how fast time flies. First of all, thank you for sticking around. And second of all, I mean, time is flying. Like, if you think about 2020, that flash crash of 2020, that was March of 2020, right? So that was 3 years ago already. The flash crash of March of 2020, that was 3 years ago. It's unbelievable that it is already March, almost mid-March of 2023. I feel like 2023 just started, and we're already approaching April. It's crazy how fast time flies. Phil, divulge your low-cap gems that you're looking at. I already gave you the biggest clue. I actually created a video for my Patreon members because I feel like they should know. I think a lot of them knew already. But, you know, I gave you guys a clue. I'm part of something, right, that I told you guys about, that I'm very excited about. If you've been following my Twitter or you've been hearing me talk about the show that I will be on, the next Crypto Gem, right, then you could put 2 and 2 together. And I'm very excited about that. Going to be recording in a couple weeks. Do you think a normal size UFO will fit in your garage? I don't know what a normal sized UFO looks like or how big it is, but I'm liking my garage. It's not the biggest. I've seen people show off their garage much bigger, like hangars and stuff. But in my residential area, it's the max I can go. But it's a good sized garage. I'll get a car lift. You know, I'll be happy with it. I don't plan on buying like 100 cars. I'll fit all my cars in there just fine. A basic UFO is a standard size, 10 by 6. That's about right. That's it. Okay. So then they'll fit. They'll fit. I could fit a couple of them in there. Oh, and appreciate that. Yeah, Seattle Dub. I actually got that idea from a TikTok I watched about this guy who had a pressure washer in his garage. I'm like, that's smart. I have a pressure washer, but it's, you know, one of those ones that you have to roll in and out and it takes a lot of space. If you just hang one on your wall, it's awesome. You can pull it out when you need it, put it back in, right? So I try to anticipate a lot of the smaller stuff. A lot of the stuff that I haven't shown in my videos, my house videos, I haven't mentioned, but like little stuff that you get to customize. For example, another one I just thought of about my garage. You know, most garages have steps, right, that come into the garage, and they take up space. It's annoying, right? I made sure my stairs do not intrude into the garage space. They're like kind of hidden behind, right? Little stuff like that. I don't know how useful it will be in the long run, but I think it just makes more sense. Gus, DCA for the win? Yes. That's what I've been saying. DCA, take the guessing out of it. That's the one advice I could give. Like, everyone tries to outsmart the market. Everyone tries to time the market. And sometimes you do it successfully. Sometimes you do it very unsuccessfully. Right? DCAing long-term, small amounts for the long run. That's how you truly win. Johnny, what are the chances of the Fed's pivoting? Well, if you mean like stop raising rates, that could come this next meeting, which is going to be next week. Yeah, next week. I could certainly see them doing that because of the bank failures. I think they have to be very careful. I think they know that. They had an emergency meeting today, right? They know that a lot of banks are now struggling, and they have to be very careful. Today was a realization of Satoshi's dream bank stock tank, and BTC goes up. Yep, this is only getting started, right? You know, it's great to see Bitcoin actually have an inverse relationship to what the banks did today. That's absolutely fantastic, but this is just getting started. We're only barely above 24,000. Wait until we get back to 30,000, 40, 50, 60, 70, and then we start climbing higher, breaking above 100,000, right? Those days will come. Probably too soon to talk about that this year, but who knows? If there are more bank failures and more distrust in the banks and money flowing out of the banks, they're going to be flowing into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin going to be moving much faster. Zombie, appreciate it. D Johnny, also appreciate it. What banks are left for on and off ramps in crypto? There's a lot of major banks that still does it. Like I heard JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs still do it. But the big players were Silvergate and Signature. And unfortunately, they both closed down. BDC doesn't have bank runs or go bankrupt. Exactly. Because no one truly controls it. Not one entity, not a bank, not a company, not one person. Even if Satoshi himself came out and proved that he was Satoshi, he proved that he can move a Bitcoin from the original Genesis block, right? And he can move Bitcoin from that million Bitcoin that he has in his wallet. Even if Satoshi proved he was Satoshi, he does not have the ability to just change code. That's how decentralized Bitcoin is. There's no other project like that. Well, I take that back. Even with Ethereum, even Vitalik says something, people have to prove upon it. That's the same thing with Bitcoin. Even as Satoshi himself came back and said, you know, we need to up the limit or increase the block rewards or something, right? If the miners don't agree, if the nodes don't agree, if the people don't agree, it's not going to get done, right? So it's unlike any bank or government or any other entity out there. FOMO hasn't even started. It will be astronomical. Great show. I agree with you. Thank you. I agree with you. If we hit 100K, will you do an LV party? What's an LV party? You mean a live party? I'll definitely have GeorgeCon for sure. You know, still want to do a conference. Probably next year, 2024, late 2024, something like that. Oh, Las Vegas? Yeah, for sure. I still like to have it in Vegas, but who knows, maybe I have it in Miami since Miami is so pro-crypto, but there's, you know, a prestige with Vegas, right? So I would still like to have it in Vegas, but those hotels are very, very greedy. Very greedy indeed. All right, guys, let you go. It's been fun. Let you enjoy your Bitcoin gains and crypto gains. Crypto went up a ton today. We're back to 1.08. Like the drop never happened, right? We wiped out basically 3 weeks of drops. And today proved that banks can't be trusted. The administration will continue to print money because that's the only thing they know. That's the only thing they know, you know, in terms of how to plug the holes, I guess. Which is going to lead to more inflation, which is going to lead to more price appreciation for Bitcoin and turn more people to Bitcoin. So stay strong, my friends. Let's see what happens tomorrow. We could see a tremendous, tremendous movement tomorrow. If we get more bank closures or if CPI reading comes out, fantastic. So have a good night. I'll see you guys tomorrow, bright and early, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Take care. Last question. Okinami being the future of ETH? No. All right. Bye-bye.